Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. So we're going to be kicking off the first video of the year, learning how to make this beautiful two-toned, two-fabric pencil dress. So stay tuned, it's easy and simple as usual. And let's get into the video. So for the materials needed, you're going to need your fabric, so your two-tone fabric. You're going to need lining, a tape measure, fabric marker or chalk, a ruler, an iron. So you're going to need your basic bodice pattern, the back and the front. I have a video on how I made this pattern, so you're going to need to watch that before watching this, and also a basic sleeve pattern as well. So the link is in the description box down below. You're also going to need a sewing machine, and you're going to need a cutting scissors as well. Alright, so first things first, you're going to go ahead and lay your fabric flat, and you're going to place your pattern, your front pattern, on top of the material, and you're going to pin it in place. Make sure it's in place. So once everything is pinned in place and secure, you're going to go ahead and add 1 inch to the front of the pattern, which is the center, because you're going to be joining two pieces together. So here I'm just imputing my length, so how long I want the dress. Obviously the pattern isn't long enough, so you're going to have to extend it. So you're going to do that on your material. So just impute how long you want your dress to be and mark it down on your fabric. So remember to add 1 inch allowance to the length. So I'm just going ahead to connect that with a straight line. So connect that 1 inch with a straight line, and also go ahead to extend your pattern at the bottom. So as you can see, the line I first made wasn't straight, so I'm just making a straight line, and then I'm also going to mark my 1 inch from there. Alright, so at the bottom part, you're going to take your hip measurement divided by 4, and once you get there, you're going to minus it by 1 and impute it on that line. Make sure to add 1 inch allowance. So just draw a straight line from your pattern and connect the points. So here I'm just modifying the pattern neckline. I wanted it a bit lower than the pattern, so I changed that. This is up to you. You can increase it higher, you can change the neckline, you can have a V-neck, you can have a boat neck, anyhow you want it. So here I'm just going ahead to make sure everything is right. I'm cross-checking, making sure I have the right measurements, and I went ahead to cut my fabric. But one tip is make sure you cross-check, double-check, triple-check, because once you cut it, it's hard to go back. So we're done with the first front piece, and this is what it should look like. And then next we're just going to do the same thing for the back pattern. So we're going to lay the back pattern on top of the material, and this time you're not going to add 1 inch because there's already allowance, and the zip joins the 2 back pieces, so there's no need for that 1 inch at the back. So I've pinned it in place, and here I'm just extending the pattern lengthwise. I'm putting in my hip measurement divided by 4 minus 1 inch at the bottom and adding 1 inch allowance, just like we did for the front. So here I'm modifying the neckline for the back pattern as well. I'm making it a bit lower, but instead of cutting my pattern and changing it, I modified the neckline on the fabric itself. So as you can see, I have just drawn the new neckline, which is a bit lower, and I'm just cutting it out now. So now I have one front piece and one back piece, and I'm going to use them to cut out the front and back piece for the other material. Please, it is very important you cross check, because you have to have one left side and one right side, and it's not the same, so you have to triple check so you're not cutting 2 left pieces. So you're going to figure out where you want your design. So do you want the fabric part, the solid part, at the right side, at the left side? You're going to have to figure that out. Put the pattern on your body if you have to, figure it out, transfer it, triple check, and then cut. This is very important, because if you make a mistake here, you're going to need to cut out another piece. So here I'm cutting out my back piece for the flowered fabric. I'm stressing, and I'm going to say this again, make sure you check and check and check. This is important, because I've made that mistake on a very expensive fabric, and it was so sad. Thank God I had just enough to rectify the mistake. So check, make sure you have the right sides, the right pieces. It's like a puzzle, it should all connect together. So now that I'm sure everything is right, I'm going ahead to cut my fabric out. So here I'm cutting out the lining. For the front lining piece, I'm going to cut it out on a fold. I'm going to do this because it's not going to be split in the middle, it's just going to be one piece. So here I'm cutting out the back lining piece, and the lining piece at the back is going to be 2. So I'm going to have 2 pieces. So here I have the basic sleeve pattern. Like I said, I have a video of this, so click and see how I made this pattern. It's very easy and fast, and I'm going to be modifying it because I want short sleeves, so I just cut it to the length I want. So however length you want it, cut it to that length, and yeah. So make sure the fabric for your sleeves is on a fold. Go ahead, cut the fabric out using the pattern. And then open it up, notch the middle, then decide what part is the front. So put it on your shoulders, decide what part is the front, and then line it back up and cut out the front. So that's one sleeve done. Then you're going to do the same for the flowered fabric. Also make sure you also determine the front side for this flowered fabric and line it up to the pattern and cut. Altogether, you should have 2 sleeves, 2 front pieces, one front lining, two back pieces, and 2 back lining pieces. Here I'm pinning my fabric in place and getting ready to transfer my dart from the pattern to the fabric and lining. I have a detailed video showing you how I transfer my darts, so go ahead and watch that. It's a very short video and I'm just going to fast forward through this part. So I'm just pinning my darts and I'm going to go ahead and sew it down. So once I'm done sewing, I'm going to iron. Ironing is a very important part. It actually makes or break your sewing. So make sure you iron it down flat. Now I'm just joining the two front pieces together by that 1 inch allowance. Face right side to right side and then join it. So I have joined it by that 1 inch and ironed it flat. Now go ahead to pin and attach your lining piece to the fabric, right side facing right side. And join it by the neckline and the bottom by 1/2 inch. So I have also done the same thing for the back, joined the lining together, and I have also closed the zip side so it's neat and clean. Turn it over to the right side and iron your seams flat. Now I'm just joining everything together. I'm joining the front piece to the two back pieces at the shoulders. This is how I joined mine. Let me know if you'd like to see a detailed video on how I do this. I can film a bonus video every week that shows you some of the sewing hacks I've learned over the years of sewing. So make sure to thumbs up and leave a comment down below if you'd like to see. So now I'm just joining the shoulders together by 1/2 inch. And this is what it looks like when I'm done. Of course, iron it flat, iron your seams flat. And I really like this way because it's very neat. Here I've used my serging machine to serge my armhole, and I've also serged my sleeves. This is optional. If you don't have one, feel free to skip this step. And now I'm just joining my sleeves to my armhole curve. So make sure your sleeves is all lined, perfectly pinned, and just go ahead and join it by 1/2 inch. Do the same thing for the other side as well. So I have joined it by 1/2 inch and I've gone ahead to hem my sleeves as well. Now it's time to attach the zip. We're almost done, thank God. Pin the two back pieces together, right side facing right side. From the bottom of the dress, determine how high you want your slit. Mine was 5.5 inches. Then mark it down. Grab your zip and then from the back neckline, measure the length of your zip. Mark it down and then from that point, mark 1 inch inside. Connect both points like so with a ruler. Sew along that line and iron it flat. So I'm going to open the sides up and fold both sides down by 1 inch like so. I'm going to pin it down and I'm going to make sure I iron it flat, completely flat. So there are two ways to attach a zip. At this point you can go ahead and just attach the zip like this, but I don't like this because I like a clean finish. So how I do mine is I attach my zip and sew on that line. As you can see, I'm pinning my zip on that line and I'm going to sew it. When I flip it over, it's a clean finish. So I've gone ahead to sew my zipper down and this is how it looks. I love the clean finish. So we're at the last stretch. We're just going to join the sides together now. So yeah, just pin the sides together. So once I'm done pinning everything together, I'm going to go ahead and use my measurements to determine how much sewing allowance I have left, because I did a lot of serging and joining and I don't think I really accommodated for that in the sewing allowance I did on the pattern. So I'm just going to use my measurements to make sure I have the right fit. So here I'm using my bust measurements divided by 2. I'm using my shoulder to waist measurement, and then from that point my waist measurement divided by 2, and then doing the same for my hip, my shoulder to hip, and then from the hip point my hip measurement. So yeah. And at the bottom of the dress, I'm making sure to take 1 inch from both sides, so it really gives it that pencil shape. I have gone ahead to sew it down and iron the seams flat and then turn it, and we're pretty much done with the dress. Now onto the belt. So measure how long you want the belt to be. I decided to make my belt out of the 2 fabrics, so one strip was 30 inches long, so altogether it was 60 inches. Determine how wide you want your belt to be. So you see how the material is on a fold, so I went with 3.5 inches. So I just drew straight lines and I decided I wanted my edge to be curved, so that's what I did here. So here I'm just joining both strips together at the bottom to make it one long belt. So pin them together, right sides facing right sides, and then I'm just going to sew all the way around the edge with 1/2 inch allowance. I'm going to leave a small opening at one edge so I can turn it inside out. You're done sewing, turn it inside out, iron it down, and then close up the open edge. So that's it, guys. We've come to the end of this video. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you try this. Please tag me on Instagram if you did try it, and please like, share, subscribe, and yeah, leave a comment on what type of videos you'd like to see. Thank you so much, and yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.